What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the What's Good in Wrestling podcast. This is episode 4. Sorry for the week off there. That's on me. I was really busy, so definitely trash me on Twitter if you'd like. No, just kidding. Anyways, Britton Harrison, how are you today?
Doing well, dealing with a little bit of neck pain. Sorry for in advance if anybody sees me mess with that, but that's the last time I'm gonna address it. Um, I just had a busy Thanksgiving. Had my nieces over, so that's always nice and awful. But yeah, excited to be able to do an episode 4, man.
Yeah, so this has been a lot of fun. So if you are new here, make sure to like this and subscribe because there are probably a few people that are listening to this that haven't subscribed. So I'd greatly appreciate that. I'd also like to announce that we have a Twitter for this podcast that we will soon be posting on lots of different things. Britton was saying we're probably going to do some like post-match immediate reactions, or even if it's a really good segment, which we'll be talking about right at the beginning of this podcast. But the Twitter is WGIW Pod, obviously at WGIW Pod. So that'll be on the screen. I'll make sure to post that as well. So make sure to go follow that. There's definitely going to be a ton of content on there. We'll do some polls, just basically anything that we can do to interact with you guys. That is where it's going to be. And you can still follow us on our personal accounts as well if you'd like. But yeah, we don't want to waste any more time. We're going to get right into this. Definitely some interesting things going on in wrestling lately. There was a few releases too. Actually, that's something that I forgot to mention. There was releases a while ago, so maybe we could briefly touch on that. I'm not really sure. I'm gonna have to pull up the list. We'll talk about that maybe in our second segment. I'll pull it up that way. We're ready for that as well. But why don't you open the podcast? Talk a little bit about the probably, I guess, the second version of the pipe bomb almost between MJF and CM Punk on AEW.
Yeah, I haven't went and rewatched it since I watched it live, so I'll probably forget a couple of big things that were said, but uh, definitely like a really personal feel to a promo that I haven't felt in a really long time. MJF, dude, is somebody who a year ago I could not stand. I was like, oh, it's cheap heat. He's garbage, whatever. But as much as I hate to say it, like he's winning me over, and it just goes out and proves it. Like in this promo with Punk, Punk just kind of took the back seat in this promo. I feel like, which is something we're definitely not used to seeing in a Punk
No.
promo. Uh, there were some things that were said that were like, wow, like they mentioned WWE by name at some points, but like he might as well have just said like, hey, like you played second fiddle to Cena and Triple H your entire career.
Yeah.
And man, like the less famous Miz line at the time, whenever he said it, with the way the crowd reacted, I was like, okay, yeah, that's a little cheap, but uh, it got the crowd going, and then yeah, they were just hot, man, and it felt personal at some points. Obviously it probably wasn't, but it felt like they really wanted to, like, the look in Punk's eyes, like he wanted to like tear him apart.
Yeah, there is a few lines in there. Like I believe, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe he did call him like he looked like a meth addict. MJF said that he looked like a drug addict or something like that.
Yeah, for somebody
So
who's a straight edge.
yeah, he's like, I can't believe you're straight edge. Like if that you have to look yourself in the mirror every morning, and like just Punk with the reference to like marrying, if like Tony Khan's daughter, if he eventually had a daughter, like I don't know. There was just a lot of shots in there, and I like the whole when MJF was doing the you can't see me, and dude, there was a lot, and that was the first time in a while where I genuinely was like watching, and I was like, oh boy, like I was like talking to the computer out loud, like there's no way he just said that. Um, but it was a masterclass. If there's ever um wrestling schools that sit down and show promos and show people going back and forth, that's one of the ones where you're like, if you get into a spot where you have a little bit of freedom to talk your smack and both of you guys are on the same page, which it kind of seems like they were, it's like you guys can put on an absolute masterclass. There's not a lot of guys that when they go out there, you're like, okay, this is going to be good. when you get an MJF or a Punk, most of the time you're going to get an excellent promo, and you put them in the same, segment, and it turns into a bloodbath. There were so many, like you said, there were so many different references to WWE, and obviously that sparked a response from Edge and Seth Rollins, Edge and The Miz. And I mean, obviously they had to have The Miz in that segment because he was the guy that got, it's a smart move on WWE's part to have The Miz a part of this like promo that's like kind of I forget that word. I'm not going to say it. It's been a long day. I'm tired, but to have the Miz in that segment, that's basically against the AEW segment. So again, just an absolute masterclass on the mic with MJF and CM Punk. And like you said, Punk had to take a back seat. And at first, I was kind of like, why isn't Punk responding? But then I kind of looked at it and said, dude, Punk might be just being like, okay, now's your time, kid. Like, really do it. Like, give me everything you got, because we've seen other wrestlers do it. And say what you want about a John Cena, but that promo where Roman was struggling to get at Cena, Cena let him talk. He was like, if you're gonna get me, do it. Like, here's your chance. And he couldn't deliver. Whereas MJF is gonna deliver. Now Roman's a much better promo. The guy is insane. He's gotten so much better. But it just shows that sometimes the veterans want to put over some guys. Say what you want about Cena. I mean, say what you want about Punk. But these types of segments are the ones where I go, okay, this isn't just a promo battle. It's also a passing of the torch almost. Like, now you're supposed to take this from me. So do it. And he did. MJF did it. He went out there and made Punk look silly, in my opinion. He really did. Punk was great. Don't get me wrong, but it wasn't the same level for me. I think MJF just destroyed him, honestly.
Yeah, and what you said, going back to what you said about like the changing of the guard or changing it, passing of the torch, can't
Mhm.
even come up with what you were trying
We're
to say.
both
Sorry.
not, it's okay. We're both just messing up today. No worries.
No, I think you're right because MJF, I feel like, is definitely going to be the first person to beat Punk, and I feel like after he goes through, this and maybe like another feud, he'll probably be the one to beat Hangman. And I feel like if you're gonna solidify him as like this dirtbag shithead heel, top heel of the company, right now is the perfect time to do it. And I feel like they executed it perfectly. I would have changed just the way he was. He said, the "You Can't See Me" man or the King of Kings. I felt like that was a little cringy,
Mm-hmm.
but everything else, man, like he is good. He is really
Yeah.
good, and I think it kind of probably took Punk by surprise a little bit. Like, oh wow, somebody who's actually at my level. Whenever
Yep.
I'm cutting a promo that's not Cena or not The Rock, it's been a minute, and whenever you get the people like that, two like that together, it's gonna be gold every time.
Yeah, dude. Whenever I like see MJF before he even says a word, I chuckle. Like, I just know the guy's about to say some crazy stuff. Like, apparently there was some backstage problems. Like, Tony Khan apparently was not messing with that whole promo. I don't know if you heard about that, but apparently he
Mm-mm.
was not too happy about everything that was said. I don't think he was happy with all the WWE references, especially just Punk literally just flat out saying Miz,
Yeah,
because you have to look at it this way too. Like, calling him a less popular Miz would then indicate that the Miz is a bigger star than him. So they're not trying to be the B class stars. They're trying to be the stars. And I mean, unfortunately, he's correct. I mean, I like and actually, I shouldn't say unfortunately. The Miz is a great promo too. Like, the Miz can actually really cut a promo. Like, I don't think people give him enough credit. Like, he completely shut up now Brian Danielson on Talking Smack, where he just lost his mind trying to make the Intercontinental Championship a bigger deal, which he did. The Miz is the last Intercontinental Champion that I can be like, yeah, that dude really made the belt something. You know what I mean? Like, think about it. Who else has done something with that title recently?
not
Nobody.
even Shinsuke.
Not even
Shinsuke's had it
Shinsuke.
twice.
Yeah, and the Miz legitimately cares about the title. I'm not saying anybody else didn't, but he went, even further to try to make that title a thing. So that line there might have been a problem because it's kind of like, yeah, like that's the truth. Like the Miz is a bigger star. Like that's just it. Right now, he's a bigger star. And yeah, I don't know. I thought it was fantastic. But yeah, the response from Edge and the Miz, a couple little shots there. I didn't actually get a chance to fully deep dive into that promo, but yeah, I don't know. Edge had said like something like you're in the minds, or like you live rent free in the minds of like everybody or something like that, which
Yeah,
wasn't really a diss to the Miz. Like that was more like a shot at the other side, pretty much.
yeah.
I don't know. Did you catch anything else that you liked in that promo or
Uh, it was just kind of like a regular promo until like they started getting into. He said that one line where he was like, "Oh, you have people on other shows saying your name. You live rent free in a lot of people's heads."
Mhm.
And whenever he said that, I was like, "Oh, are they like trying to match that fire that they had?" Because I don't know how well that's going to work. And there was a joke that I wanted to make, like I love Dynamite, but everybody was like, "Oh, the crowd didn't even react whenever he said that," and I was like, "Well, nobody watches Dynamite in order to get the joke, you know." But
Oh
but
man, that's funny. I
but
mean, unfortunately it's true.
I mean, as much as I don't want it to be true, but yeah,
Yeah.
Edge and Miz, that's something that whenever they first, like when Miz's music hit, I was like, Edge versus Miz, that's going to be ass. But like, they sold it, and I feel like that's going to be a really good match and a really good program, especially if they get Beth Phoenix involved.
Yeah, that's true. That's very, very true. And the thing is too is like that was just like a quick little opening thing. Like I feel like if you really look at the Miz and Edge and go out there and cut a promo, because both of them, when they get going, their veins pop out of their head and their face gets red and they go nuts, both of them.
Yeah.
If you get the two of them doing that at the same time, we're going to get a wicked promo battle from the two of them, because again, both of them can talk. People can say whatever they want about the Miz. He does not get enough credit. That guy is one of the best promos in the entire wrestling industry. He
I would
cuts a
agree.
good promo if he's given the time, if he's given the right space, and if he's given the right program. You can't have the Miz doing promos against people that won't even respond to him. If you get a guy like Edge, or previously with Daniel Bryan when he was in WWE, like you're at least getting guys with some credibility that will respond. That's when the Miz thrives, because he knows he can bounce it off of somebody that will hit him right back. And I mean, he's so good at it. Again, you can look at the Miz and say whatever you want, but the guy knows how to cut a promo, and him and Edge will just. And I mean, Edge is, first class. I mean, the guy is he can do whatever. So it does, whatever he does is magic. So I'm excited for anything that those two are involved in, because I know it's going to be good. So
Yeah. And I feel like Miz is going to be even better because I feel like whenever he has Maurice, he's at his best.
yeah,
You look at his run that he had with her in SmackDown in 2017, probably the best run of his career when he had the Intercontinental title, and that lines up with the Talking Smack segment. Just he was kind of untouchable at that point, and
yeah,
I feel like this can get him back up there. I
yeah,
hope
because
so.
he was a pompous asshole. He had the belt and he had the chick. He had everything. That was
Mm-hmm.
the whole point. Like, hey, I'm rich. I'm a A-list celebrity. I've got my wife and I'm a champion. Like what? Like nobody could touch me.
What
That
else do
was
I need?
what. That was why it was perfect. And I think that, minus the title, this is going to be good. And like you said, if they involve Beth in this too, Beth Phoenix, again, she can cut a promo. She's very good. That stuff with her and Randy Orton,
Oh yeah.
masterclass, masterclass. Beth Phoenix is one of the greatest women's stars ever. Like just
Oh yeah.
insane. But we could talk about
100%.
that another time. I'm trying to remember the releases that we talked about last, because I don't believe we talked about the hit row. Like we texted about it, but I don't know if we actually talked about it on the podcast, because they were involved in the same release pack as John Morrison, and I don't think we talked about John Morrison either.
No.
So basically the list, I believe, for this round of cuts by the WWE was John Morrison, Isaiah Swerve Scott, Top Dollar, Ashante the Adonis, Tegan Knox, Drake Maverick, Shane Thorne, and Jackson Riker. Those are the guys. No offense to Shane Thorne and Jackson Riker. I don't really have a ton to say about them. Tegan Knox didn't really ever get the shot that she probably could have been given in WWE. Drake Maverick, definitely a guy that they could utilize, but again, they just didn't really have anything for him, which sucks. John Morrison and Hit Row. So I mentioned this briefly to you over text. The rumor when Hit Row was released was that Vince already knew that they didn't have anything for Hit Row. Basically, after the first time they came out on SmackDown, that was why the other, no offense, I don't remember her name, but she was also in Hit Row.
BFAB.
Yeah, so my apologies. I wasn't the biggest on Hit Row. I didn't really know too much about them. But she was released, and I was a little shocked about that because I felt like from what I seen that she fit in Hit Row. Then they got called up or whatever, and they did that stupid segment with Sami Zayn where they were dancing or whatever it was, like trying to show them how to enter the ring properly, whatever that stupid segment was. And then they got released, and I'm like that was what we got out of them, like 1 week or 2 weeks, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And the rumor was that if they would have been released while they were in NXT, they would have had a 30-day no compete. But if they got called up and released, it's a 90-day no compete. So they were called up just to get released, is what I'm getting to.
Let's see, that's so messed up if that's true, because like if you have nothing for them, you know, either one, let them stay in NXT where they were over, or two, you know, just tell them, hey, we don't have anything for you, and just cut them and let them go make money and not have to wait another 2 months. That's a quarter of a year that you have to wait 90 days. That's ridiculous. And especially in a time now where people need their jobs and need money more than ever. And a business like wrestling where it's so cutthroat, and if you're not on TV or you're injured, you're not making money, it's just another scummy thing to do. But I had also heard that some people speculated that Top Dollar had kind of gotten them all released because he made some kind of rap song about Jinder Mahal. And he made some kind of curry joke.
I'm not laughing at the joke. I'm just like, why are you making a diss track on Jinder Mahal? Like, I don't understand. Former WWE champion.
In the fact that like in the rap, he said it was like, I'm cooking up like Chef Curry with the beef or something, and he says, he literally stops the beat and says, "Get it, like curry beef," and it's like, okay, man.
How are they going to have his episodes of WWE Hidden Treasures or whatever the hell it is on A&E or whatever channel it is? I don't know what it is, but that's the only thing I knew him from. I didn't even know that he was in Hit Row at that point. So
I didn't even know he was in that.
Yeah, no, he was like, he would go with the wrestlers to like find the stuff that they were trying to like buy back for the WWE, whatever it is, the center, whatever the hell it is. But yeah, the only thing that I can think of that would suck is that Vince probably looked and said, okay, they're over enough that if I give them only 30 days, they probably still have enough credibility to get another job quickly, and it could burn me. Whereas with 90 days, I think most people will forget about them, which kind of sucks.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be honest with you, like I never saw any of Hit Row in NXT. I don't watch NXT every week. I don't even really watch the takeovers anymore. I've got literally no interest with NXT. So when they came up, I knew really nothing about them other than people on Twitter being like, "Oh, Hit Row's cool." You know, I never really saw myself. You know, like I never really was a big fan of it, but it sucks to see them go because they didn't even get a chance.
Yeah, and I mean, there's also the thing that Top Dollar had heat besides the diss track. Like apparently he had heat backstage. I don't know what he did, but apparently he had heat in NXT and apparently he had heat on SmackDown immediately. So I don't really know what happened there, but that could just all be rumors. Who knows? But I don't know. That one, those obviously that one is terrible. But John Morrison, they fried him. Like they didn't even give him a chance. he was building up his credibility again as his wrestler all over the world. And then he comes back to WWE. First of all, he got no reaction on his comeback. Like when the Miz brought him out for Miz TV or whatever the hell it was, no reaction. The crowd had no idea that who he was. Like, or they just didn't care. And I'm thinking to myself, I didn't think John Morrison was that old, to be honest with you. I still don't. It's like the crowd just didn't care. And immediately I thought, oh boy, this is bad because like again, I like the Miz and I thought that that tag team could work again and if they did the dirt sheet and all this other stuff, but they basically were like, yeah, if the Miz isn't here, you don't have a job.
Yeah. And we talk about missed opportunities a lot on this podcast, but like this is the second time they've really screwed John Morrison. He should have been a world champion in 2009. He was super over. It was his time. He was on SmackDown. People loved him. He was giving the kids the sunglasses every week, and then he just gets released.
Yep.
And then you bring him back, and then it's just the Johnny Drip Drip had potential to be something. I mean, they were really, really pushing that for a minute. And then Miz goes and does Dancing with the Stars, turns on him before, and he's like, okay, I'm just going to do, yoga or meditation in the backstage area until Miz gets back. And then it sucks they release him, and then literally Miz comes back, 2 weeks later, and they could have started that up. So I don't know. I feel bad for him, and I feel bad for his wife, who was cut like 2 weeks before.
Yeah,
but,
and Edge even threw a little shot at that in that promo too, where he was like saying like you're off doing Dancing with the Stars or whatever else, where your partner gets released, and I was like,
yeah,
oh god, too soon, Edge. Like,
it's like, what else is he supposed to do? Is he supposed to move on to another program? And then when Miz comes back, just throw him back into that? It's like,
yeah, no, like they missed the opportunity for like, I would have thought it would have been crazy had they had Miz come back and then have Morrison not on TV for a few more weeks and then have Morrison just be like, dude, like, did you just forget about me? Like, I'm back, and like have it like, oh no, like I'm a big star now. I was on Dancing with the Stars. Like I don't have time to deal with you, blah, blah, blah. Boom, easy feud right there. And you get good matches, probably some good promos, and then you let Morrison do his thing, you let Miz do his thing. You could even somehow have gotten the Intercontinental Championship involved if you put the belt back on Miz and then had Morrison go after it. Dude, they had an easy built-in program right there that people probably would have enjoyed. Because again, Miz raises the bar for the Intercontinental Championship. He's got a good promo. Morrison, athletic, super talented. And then maybe he beats Miz for the belt. And then it's like, okay, now we're building up John Morrison. You know what I mean? So I don't
there's
know.
consistent stuff for him to do.
More BS from the WWE, unfortunately, and I don't know. Just I'm not having it. I wasn't happy with those releases, man. I especially John Morrison. It's just they're clearing house. They're definitely clearing house. Now, getting to another big piece of news that's recently happened is the WWE Day One pay-per-view seems to have found their main event potentially. It was supposed to be Big E, the WWE champion, versus Seth Rollins, who of course won a chance to be the number one contender. And now the match is going to be a triple threat match, as Kevin Owens has been involved in this storyline for a little bit now, and it makes a lot of sense to have this as a triple threat. 3 really talented wrestlers, 3 great promos, 3 just guys that know how to work. And I think it's going to be a fantastic match. This is going to be an absolute action-packed match. But I have an unfortunate thing that I was running through my head that I think the reason why Kevin Owens could be involved in this match, and that's to eat the pin from Seth Rollins. What do you you're probably I knew you were thinking the same thing. I already knew you were thinking the same thing. So I had to bring it up. Like Seth Rollins deserves to be champ. I love Big E. I'd love for him to stay champion, but dude, Rollins is just on another level right now. Like it is not even fair the level that he's on right now. But this match is going to cause an absolute shitstorm on social media when Kevin Owens eats the pin.
I agree. And you could tell by my face that was exactly what I was thinking. as soon as they added him last night, because it's like you don't want to pin Seth again, and you definitely don't want to take Big E's title reign away so quickly, because I think he'll retain, but I
Mhm.
think he'll pin Kevin Owens, and that'll be another thing, another reason for Seth Rollins to get pissed off. Oh, I got screwed again. But that way, whenever he finally wins the title again, it's going to really, really mean something. Because this goes back to this past summer on SmackDown, whenever Cena screwed him out of getting a Universal title shot, and it's just every time and Edge did too. Every time he goes for a world title shot, something happens. Somebody stands in the way, and I think it's just unfortunately another opportunity or another opportunity of that. I don't know what the word I'm looking for there is, but it's going to be another thing of that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I can see. Unfortunately, people are going to be like, "Oh, Kevin Owens is being buried," but yeah, like he's probably leaving.
Yeah.
People do the jobs and make the others look good whenever it's their time to leave. And it wouldn't surprise me if that was like their write off for him if his contract expires in January. That's like his
Yeah.
last match, his WWE Championship match, which might be another reason why he's in it. But definitely to eat the pin.
Which kind of makes me sad because it could be Kevin Owens in the back being like, listen, guys, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm probably leaving. And I really appreciate everything that you've done, blah, blah, blah. Cause I feel like Kevin Owens is not gonna leave and shit on the company. Like I feel like he's
No,
genuinely liked his time in WWE. And he has been in some pretty significant matches, but as of late, he hasn't gotten the full, KO experience. Now he's finally getting it back a little bit. But this could be WWE being like, listen, you aren't gonna win, but like we'll give you one last moment. You know what I mean? Which sucks. Like it hurts me to even say that because I want him in the WWE. I really do. I'm a huge fan still, even through all the BS. And it's like I actually enjoy watching him every time I turn on Raw or SmackDown, whatever program he's on, because I mean, again, it's like you have your brand, you have the one that you watch exclusively, and you want to support your favorite wrestlers, and Kevin Owens is that guy for me. So it really sucks that this is likely his last match in the WWE, like you mentioned, or at least high profile match. But who knows? Maybe he pulls out the win, and we're all just like mind blown. Which again, I mean, that would be interesting. Imagine
yeah,
he wins the title and Vince hands him a contract on the stage. Like, could you imagine, bro? Like, just the most insane thing ever. Like, as in Vince like put him in that position to like win the title or something. I don't know, but it would be really cool. But that's probably not going to happen. I don't know. There's a bunch of different ways that I could see this going, but that's the eating the pin thing. I knew you'd be thinking the same thing. So
yeah,
just not the greatest feeling when I seen that, and I'm like, oh boy, he's definitely eating that pin. So
yeah.
um I don't know if you had anything else to say on that match there, but I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited too. They're three of my favorites. They're probably my three favorite on Raw,
Mhm.
next to Bianca and Liv Morgan. So anytime they're all three in a match together or a program, hey, count me in.
It's gonna be great. Probably the last thing we're gonna be talking about on here is a little controversial, and this is something that I do want to post on the Twitter account, maybe a poll or just a basic question or something like that. But this is something that I think needs to be discussed, and you and I have talked about this a little bit. Randy Orton, one of both of our favorite wrestlers, is he the greatest? Can he be said to be the greatest wrestler of all time or the greatest WWE superstar of all time? What are your thoughts on that? Do you want me to name off some of his accolades first, just so that way maybe we have a little bit to talk about, and then I also want you to guess his winning percentage. So NWA OVO Hardcore Champion again. You got or OVW. Sorry, did I say OVO like Drake? I feel
OVO,
like I said OVO.
you did.
OVW Hardcore Championship. He's won that 2 times. World Heavyweight Champion 4 times. World Tag Team Championship. He won that once. A WWE titles, he's won that 10 times. An Intercontinental Champion, Raw Tag Team Champion, SmackDown Tag Team Champion, United States Champion, multiple time Royal Rumble winner. And did he ever have a Money in the Bank? I don't think so, right? Or did
Yeah,
he? So
2013.
so he's definitely had a lot of accomplishments, and I'm sure there's a ton more. Record breaker with pay-per-views, Raw, just absolutely insane career. Like the guy is just, again, you can say that this guy is could be categorized as the greatest wrestler of all time or greatest WWE superstar of all time. So um as a huge Orton fan yourself, what do you think about that topic?
I think Orton is like the prototype of what a WWE superstar is supposed to be. Like you ask a wrestling fan, like just somebody who doesn't want, or an outside wrestling fan, like very
Mhm.
casual, like who do you think they go? A lot of them are going to say Randy Orton because of the RKO out of nowhere. He's got a lot of, even though he's not like a Cena or a Rock with the outside popularity, like the RKO out of nowhere memes are huge.
Mhm.
People, whenever they were kids, were huge wrestling fans. They all loved Randy Orton. He's universally loved, and he's my personal favorite of all time. It's changed a couple of times, but I feel like he's going to always be my favorite wrestler of all time. And there's been times that he's had a couple little slumps in his career or some questionable things that have happened throughout his career. But whenever you put him in that spotlight and you say, is this the greatest WWE superstar of all time? I feel like you can't really, it's tough. It's tough because I say yes, but everybody's gonna be like, what about us? And what about Rock? Look at Orton. Orton has consistently put on good to great matches and good to great programs his entire career, 20 something years. Something Austin couldn't do, something Rock couldn't do, something Cena, Hogan, none of them have been able to do. You look at the consistency, you look at the dedication, and you look at the heart, and it's hard for me to say that there's anybody better because, like you said, 14-time world champion, 2-time Royal Rumble winner, numerous other titles. He still looks like he's going out there and having as fun as he did in 2004,
Yeah.
especially with this Riddle stuff right now. He really looks like he's having the most fun of his entire career. And whenever he's motivated, whenever he wants to put on a great match, you're not stopping Randy Orton.
Nope.
He's going to be the greatest to watch, the most fun to watch consistently. So my personal opinion, yes, Randy Orton is the GOAT.
Yeah, dude. Honestly, like I've brought this up a couple times because to me, and I know people will definitely hate this opinion, but I think that you could have had Edge in that conversation had he not been injured. If he didn't have that career-ending injury, you could have easily had Edge into that conversation. But I think Randy Orton's competition is John Cena in that category. I really do. I love Stone Cold. I love The Rock. I respect them. I respect the greats that have come before in terms of in-ring talent. There because there's a lot of guys that you can categorize as the best. Now, actually, I should say the two biggest competitors for me would be The Undertaker and John Cena, because there's a big part of me that says The Undertaker is the greatest of all time. There's a part of me that says John Cena is the greatest of all time. And there's a part of me that says Randy Orton is the greatest of all time. Um, like promo wise, match wise, it doesn't matter what Randy Orton does. You're always going to be at least glued to whatever he's going to be doing. You know what I mean? Like if you're not into the whole program, you're going to be into his program. He what all the things that he's done, legacy, just oh my god, I can't, like, our childhood, man, like growing up on John Cena versus Randy Orton and those feuds, man, like we would be at school like every day being like, bro, like Randy Orton might actually kick Cena's head off tonight. Like seriously though, like you're so into it. Like even when I knew it wasn't real, I was still like, Randy Orton is psychotic. I'm like, this guy is an absolute psychopath, bro. Like I love his character so much as a heel, but he's also a great face. Like he can do both. Um, and he just delivers. He just delivers all the time. His feuds with Undertaker, all those matches, just classics, every single one of them. Edge, classics. That greatest wrestling match ever match was amazing. Like, I don't know why people still to this day are like kind of crapping on that. Dude, that's one of the greatest matches ever, bro. Like, it's so good. Obviously the John Cena stuff, anything he did with like Rey Mysterio, it doesn't matter. there's so many classic Randy Orton feuds, Triple H, like can't forget about that, like just insane. So I would say I can't I can't yet say for sure that I think Randy Orton is the greatest of all time. But if somebody said that to me, I'd be like, yeah, man, I 100% can see that. I definitely could see that. And I would not be mad if they categorized him as that. If they said he's the greatest ever, I'd say Randy Orton. Yeah, man. Like when I seen him 2019 at SummerSlam, dude, there was a part of me that like I had one tear. Like I was like, this guy like is just a part of my freaking childhood, and he got a massive pop against Kofi. He probably should have won that night. I'll be honest. He got a massive pop. And I was like, whoa, like Randy Orton is still that dude. Randy Orton and Jeff Hardy like they're gonna get pops for the rest of their career. Does not matter what they do. Jeff Hardy, Randy Orton, pops forever, no matter what they do.
Yeah,
So
I agree
one
with you.
one thing I need to ask you, win percentage. I want to know what percentage of Randy Orton's matches that he's won in his entire career.
I'm getting anywhere between 68 and 71%. I'm gonna say 71.
You're going to be surprised. 52%.
52%.
52.8% of Randy
Wow.
Orton's matches he won. Now, um, there was a few years where he was basically winning almost all of his matches, including 2015, where he won 88% of his matches. Like insane. In the era of like 2010, 2011, he was in the 70%. 2012, he was in the 70%. But there's been some years where Randy Orton has had some pretty substantial losses. Now, I also believe I read somewhere on here that his pay-per-view win percentage is in the 40s. Like he does not win a lot of his pay-per-view matches. Now, you have to consider the feuds that he's been in. With The Undertaker, you're not winning most of those. With John Cena, you're not winning most of those. So, and let's be real here. Randy Orton's put over a lot of guys. He's
Yeah,
put
he
over a
has.
lot of talent. So you have to also consider that. Like, I haven't really heard a lot of people talk about Randy Orton negatively. I haven't. I've heard a lot of people. And again, we're not inside sources here. We one day we hope to, but seriously, you know how awesome that'd be if we showed up with inside information. But yeah, no, I would think that Randy Orton gets a good message from pretty much most of the people that he works with. Seems like he's a pretty good dude. I'm sure his attitude has changed over the years because when he came in, we all know, you know, he didn't really gain the respect of everybody right away. We all know the infamous showing up late to his program with the Undertaker, where I don't know if you heard about that, but like they were like rehearsing for WrestleMania and he just like was late, like he just didn't show up.
I never
Um,
heard of that. Wow.
yeah, it was in I can't remember what documentary it was. I don't know if it was a Randy Orton program or if it was an Undertaker thing, but excuse me, Randy Orton had like missed an entire day of like talking over stuff with the Undertaker, and like
Damn.
that's a
That's the
big
one
no
person you
no.
don't want to do that to.
Yeah, no. So I think maybe we should do, I'll play devil's advocate. Maybe one day we can do an episode where I argue The Undertaker as the greatest of all time, whereas you could argue Randy Orton as the greatest. We could go back and forth with some accolades, some matches, some feuds, and everything like that, just to
Yeah.
be devil's advocate. Because honestly, if somebody said to me Orton, Taker, Cena, Rock, Austin, I'm probably not going to argue any of those names. I'll be quite
Yeah.
honest with you. I'm sorry, I'm not putting Hogan in there because F Hulk Hogan, bro. Like honestly,
Yeah.
I could care less.
Yeah. Piss on
Um,
Hulk Hogan.
yeah, like I do not care about that guy whatsoever.
Team
The
Iron
Hulk,
Sheik, baby.
Iron Sheik, baby. Uh, yeah, honestly, I'm not sure how long we've been going for, but I think I don't want to, unless you have something else that you'd want to add in here. Um, I don't really have a ton left. I think we touched on a lot of the bigger news. And of
Yeah.
course, since we were about a week behind here, Again, my apologies, because we're a week behind. There's probably going to be a lot more that we're going to talk about in the next episode, and we're still needing to start the fantasy booking challenges because, dude, I've got so many ideas, bro. You have no idea. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that. I'm really excited for you guys to see that as well, because that's something that I've wanted to do for a long time, but I never have. And we're going to really have a lot of fun with this, and really can't wait for you guys to see that. But I had a couple of things I was going to add to the Orton thing, but
No, go
uh,
ahead. No, add away, man.
I think you're right with Cena being his only competition in terms of being the GOAT. Uh, but you got to look at some of the programs that like Cena had and some of the like time away that he spent. And yeah, it's nice he got like some outside notoriety and brought some outside fans to wrestling and vice versa. But it's just Orton is always the GOAT for me. I had something else I was going to say, but I forgot about it. So I'm just wrapping it up with that. Yeah.
The only thing is like that pop that Cena got after, Roman was, alone in the ring and whatever. And then that Cena music hit. Dude, I don't know how many people ever will get pops like that. Like there's like that was a pop and a half. Like people could talk about all these other pops that happened and Punk in Chicago and all this other stuff like that. But dude, like this was just a like shock pop, like right off the bat.
I wish I would have gone to that show.
Dude, I would have lost my mind if I was in that crowd.
Yeah.
Like
I almost went to that show.
That would have been a great show to go to, but I still, this is completely off topic, but I still think about it. And I know you and I talked about it like I think we were just on a phone call randomly the first time we had talked a few weeks ago. But I always think about this, that Hardy Boys return. And I told you this, imagine if it was just Jeff with the No More Words song, like with somebody who is a champion in the ring, just waiting. And like nobody thinks it's going to happen. And then the Jeff Hardy just comes out, bro. Like the pop would have been stupid, bro.
It's like right now, Seth Rollins as the champion.
Oh my god. Oh my god, bro, that would have been insane. Or like Roman, like peak Roman right now, but like in the ring, just being like, dude, nobody can touch me. I beat everybody in this company. Like, oh
Dude,
my
they would come
god.
unglued, especially because like they love No More Words. No More Words has got to be, along with Edge's. I can't decide which one's the best theme song of all time between Edge's theme
Dude,
song and No More Words.
dude, honestly, I low key gotta go with No More Words. Like Edge, like
I
I don't
think
know,
so
it's
too.
tough, but like I love Edge, Canadian guy, of course, everything about him, one of the greatest of all time. But dude, there's just something about No More Words. Like I hear No More Words, I see 2009 Jeff Hardy, and just remembering cutting up the armbands, like just putting them all over the arms, like the double and triple different colors, and like
Yeah.
I would just be in front of my TV, and just it didn't matter if it was 2 in the morning, it didn't matter if it was 6 in the morning, it didn't matter what it was. I'm up doing the damn Hardy dance, bro. I do not care.
Did you
No
see
more
Woods doing
words.
it?
Pardon?
Did you see Woods doing it
Yeah.
at Survivor Series?
Yeah. Dude, but you can't help it. And dude, have you not did you watch after I told you about the Karrion Cross thing where he was like,
Oh, I forgot to watch that. Yeah,
dude, okay, after
I
this,
gotta go
I'm
watch
I'm
that.
forcing you to watch it because I want to see your reaction if it's possible, if I could see that. But
I don't know. Yeah, we'll try
okay,
because
because
I'm on my
I need
phone.
to see that. I need to see that. So all right, we'll wrap it up. Thank you guys for listening, watching, whatever you're doing. Again, make sure to like this and subscribe if you could. We're working on a lot of different things for you guys to make this easier and better for you guys to interact with us. Like I said, make sure to follow us on Twitter, follow our joint account plus our personal accounts. Whatever you want to do, it's all open for you guys. But thank you for listening, and we'll definitely see you guys in the next podcast.